Hey guys, welcome back to the IPSL Monthly event. Joining me in the caster booth today, none other than Ozzy Tahaki himself. How are you doing, Ozzy?
I'm doing good, Jean. We got a few games this morning that we're gonna be checking out. Yeah. It's unfortunate that DeWalt got busy because he did sign up, but he's not gonna be able to play today. But
Right.
still got a couple of monsters in here today at least.
Yeah, so why don't we quickly go over who we've got available? There is going to be a match we won't be casting. I think that's Sony versus Yakub. We're going to be jumping straight in with Rasavi versus Eonzerg. How are you feeling about these gamers?
I like Razway. I hang out with him a lot. I've also played both of these players quite a bit recently as well.
Yeah.
And Razway's unfortunately his worst matchup is TVZ, and
Right.
Eon is kind of a beast. So it's gonna be tough for Razway. I like watching Razway play. But he's very he doesn't do good with kind of off meta builds, and Eon Zerg exclusively does off meta builds.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you're a strong macro Terran, you tend to
Hmm.
be pretty good at TVT and TVP, and then you have issues with TVZ because Zergs can
Yeah,
get all kinds of like meta on you and do some pretty cheesy stuff. I think
yeah,
Artosis himself has that problem. He's pretty solid in TVP, but his TVZ suffers, and I think Rasavi is the exact same case.
yeah. I would pretty much agree with that. I think Artosis is actually a great example for you to give in this situation, and he actually even talks about it himself, right? That people
Yeah.
knows what he's gonna do, and yeah, and he does get kind of counterplayed quite a bit often. So yeah, it's kind of the same with Raspberry, like you're saying. And honestly, I suffer from it as well. Like I kind of do the same opening TVZ almost every game, and
Mm.
the people that know me end up destroying me. But it's great on ladder, honestly.
Yeah, if they don't know you, then obviously
Yeah.
maybe you can get away with just playing your macro game.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've never really played TVZ. I've only ever really played ZVT. I've played like TVZ against some noobs to like help them train, but I don't really
Yeah.
understand from the Terran perspective enough. But I can imagine it's really hard when you're playing against a hyper aggressive Zerg that just doesn't let you do what you want to do.
Yeah, and in my experience, it's Raspberry is very similar to me. I feel like in both skill level and play style, and I expect it'll be interesting for me personally for that reason. Because like I said, I know him pretty well. We talk a lot. He plays almost identical to how I play. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how he does against Eon, because I know my recent games against Eon were pretty ugly.
Mm.
So I'm curious to see if he actually has some answers, or we can maybe one thing that might help too is just watching, right? Just watching from the spectator perspective and being like, oh, he could have done this, could have done that. Like,
Yeah,
start seeing
yeah.
some things. So I know we're here to cast against you guys, but this is also potentially a learning experience for me. So
All right, so you're going to be doing your homework while casting this. It's going to be on Octagon, which is actually a pretty good map for
yeah,
TVZ. Pretty hard for Zergs to secure their fourth gas on this one. So yeah, let's see if maybe Rasavi can make up the difference, because he is going to be a bit of an underdog against Eon Zerg. I would say Eon's an absolute monster these days.
yeah,
But I also saw Rasavi kind of struggle against Julia on this map. He ran into some hold position lurkers and what have
oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah, so I hope he can bring his A game today. He is a pretty solid macro Terran, but like we were saying before, just really struggling against any form of aggression from Zergs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I was able to poke into the cast for about 20 seconds, and I wanted to check in on Rasley, and I came in at that exact moment where he ran into those lurkers, and I was like, I immediately turned the stream off, and I was like, all right, well,
He wasn't in a bad position as well. Like he killed
yeah,
the Zerg's third. The only thing that was bad about it was that he lost his +1 timing because he
mm,
ignored the mutas killing the engineering bay and killed the third base. But looks like we're ready. We're gonna be jumping into our first game of this best of 3 series. Eon Zerg versus Rasavi on Octagon. Let's get it.
let's go.
And spawning here in the bottom left, rocking the Zerg race, Eon Zerg.
And his opponent here in the top right corner, rocking the Terran race from Poland, Razovi. Razovi.
Yeah, those Polish names always kind of mess me up a little bit as well. I kind of just defer to how Zero pronounces things.
Yeah. I'm always gonna call him Razovi anyway, but you know,
Yeah.
you almost like when I hear, like, when I say it with the V compared to how the Polish say it, I feel like I'm saying it like I'm Russian almost, or like it's a Russian name.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm probably doing the same thing when I say it, so I totally feel you. Well, cross map. I mean, this could be a nice macro game for Rasavi. He's going to be walling in here. His natural expansion. This is pretty damn common for Terrans these days.
That's a weird depot placement, though.
A little bit weird, yeah.
He can't fit the barracks below it, so I'm a little bit curious.
The barracks goes above it, I guess.
I don't think so. And even if it did, that would still be like a 3-gap wall, right?
It would have, I think, 2 holes, or maybe 3. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
You're right. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a problem. Oh my gosh, because he shouldn't have either done like barracks on the bottom with 2 depots above it. I think.
Yeah. So the way it is right now, I'm pretty sure there's a hole between barracks and egg. Actually, maybe not. But there's one below the barracks, and there's 2 below the next depot as well, right? So there's going to be quite a bit of space if Lings do decide to be built here from Jonzerg.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, luckily he's doing a hatchery first build for now, sending out a drone scout as well. I'm curious if he'll send that cross map. Some Zergs do, especially on maps where proxying is very viable. This center is completely buildable. But looks like he's not. Looks like he's just going to be checking the top left first.
Yeah. This also, I wasn't paying attention based on the depot timing. I'm pretty sure this is a 10 racks from Razui, which I'm a huge fan of the 10 racks. Unfortunately, it's going to be cross spawn, so it's unlikely we get anything out of it. But it's good defensively, and it has a little bit of really aggressive options.
Yeah.
And the main thing for me is, so Razui is the only other person I know that sometimes does 1 racks a CAD. And I'm really hoping he goes for it here. But yeah, we'll be just keeping an eye on the academy timing, racks timing, that kind of thing from Razui, because it all kind of indicates what he's going to transition into and how quickly from there.
Yeah, Light likes to go for 1 racks a CAD a fair bit. He tends to optimize for mid-game timings, you know, cutting SCVs up 35 and throwing down crazy amounts of barracks and pumping non-stop bio. I don't know what he's going to go for here. 2 racks is still kind of popular, despite no one really opening up lurkers. I feel like 1 racks academy is a little bit weak to people that are seriously good with their mutalist micro, but you can still make it work.
Yeah, it has its ups and downs, and it is going to be that 1 racks a CAD as well from Razui, so that's kind of cool to see for me. Yeah, it has some ups and downs. Like, it's kind of nice in some ways because you'll have like a decent early game kind of Marine force when the mutas come out. If you're hitting your timings correctly, you're going to be around like 10 Marines with stim and range, and like 3 medics, sometimes 4 medics, if you're doing really well. So it's like good initially in that sense, but it's also like kind of like light pressure, can't really come out unless they're cutting a lot of mutas. The main thing you're looking for is, I guess you have 2 options. You can either pivot into, it's going to be either a 6-minute factory, or you continuously pump Marines and SCVs, and you actually will add a lot more bio and try to fight.
Right. And Light is the kind of guy that will go for the bio option.
Yeah.
And go for insane mid-game timings. Let's see if he can force more of a response out of Jonzerg. He's got 1 single sunken, not that many lings, but it's kind of hard to make the Zerg build a lot of stuff versus the 1 racks a CAD if they know that's what you've done, because it's just not that scary. But if you can force 2 sunkens or some extra lings, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And what you're saying there is exactly the weakness of this build, is if Zerg identifies as what you're doing, or if they know you're that kind of player, they can cut a lot of corners. Like, they don't have to make the sunken, they don't have to make many lings, they don't have to, you know, they can just sit there and drone up and be really greedy.
Yeah, well, he's thrown down a couple of extra racks soon after going for that academy. So he should have a reasonable force during the mid-game, but like you were saying, the early game timing, a little bit suffering for that. He actually scanned for like a 3rd hatchery placement there, and there is actually a 2.5 hatchery placement, but a bit off to the right.
Yeah, and for me this is interesting to see because Jonzerg's never gone higher than like 12 drones when I play against him, so it's really curious to see him go into this like heavy macro style compared to his usual ZVT gameplay.
Yeah, I'm curious what the thought process is behind that. I imagine he's somewhat familiar with Rasavi in terms of his style.
Yeah, it could be that he's maybe he's just that comfortable against me that he kind of has realized he can kill me early a lot of times or like late into me a lot. So it may be
Yeah.
for me specifically, but yeah, in this case, like you said, he is going for that 2.5 hatch, so I'm gonna be taking a pretty decently timed third as well here at the 9 o'clock position, which also pretty easy for Zerg to defend. I feel like.
I'm kind of like 50-50 on that. I think if you're map controlling a lot with the Muta Ling and you never lose a fight, I think it's fine. But as soon as like the Terran starts fighting your Mutas back, can get a little bit scary because of the 2 entrances to that expansion.
Right. Yeah, the 2 entrances for sure makes it hard, and you don't have like the like high ground ramp or something you're fighting with.
Yeah.
For Terran to get there, it does mean that you had to have had some pretty bad fights, probably, or at least their bio ball is huge. So I guess it is true. If Terran gets there, then it's very hard.
Yeah, I think the hardest part though is translating this configuration into a 4th gas. I think it's not so much of an issue in terms of defense as long as you're trading pretty well. And he actually is pretty adamant on putting the pressure onto Rasavi, so much so that he's actually got a lot of bruised mutas already.
Yeah. Yeah, the bunker was getting a decent bit of fire. Our factory timing is very, very late from Razway. We're hearing their scan go down as well. He is making a lot of turrets.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he's misreading a little bit because this isn't like hyper aggressive like all Linish from Eon, but this is like a very, very big commitment to defense so far from Razway.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you don't really want to delay your factory beyond 7 minutes at the latest, but he is doing that. I think he's just now thrown that down a little bit lately. That scan was really good, though. He's doing a bit of extra damage onto the mutas before they can fly back in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this isn't terrible for Rasavi, but it's not great either. He's made so many turrets, like you say, and yeah, with the 3rd gas coming up and 4 hatcheries worth of production, you have to give a pretty big edge to Eon Zerg, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to harp too much on Razwing, but I do feel like if you're going to do something like this, if you're going to be more defensive like this and make this many turrets, you might as well go for eBay build instead, if you're going to go for this late of a factory timing as well, because we really don't have any advantage for going 1 Raxacad with the way we've played this out.
Yeah, I guess he's got a fairly early 4 racks production going, so maybe if he was more active with this bio, he could be out on the map and putting a lot of pressure onto Eon before the lurkers are ready, but he's not been that active with this bio. He's very tentatively shuffling out of his base now, and it's getting a little bit too late to put on the pressure. Like, he's got like 30 seconds to get over and do something, but he seems to be very slow about it, and Eon even picked up a medic, so maybe Rasavi not feeling pushing across the map right now.
Yeah, I think this is just from watching this, it feels like this might be a little bit of I'm scared of the player more so than like playing the game. You know what I mean? Just the way he's played this out.
Yeah, it does definitely seem like that to me. I mean, his vessels won't be too delayed in this game, but then he's lost his attack timing completely. I'm not so sure about this game plan from Rasavi. He's even going to take quite a few SCV losses here. And he's actually pulling back all of his bio to deal with this. So not only is he going to lose like 6 or so SCVs, but he's also delaying any possibility of a Terran punishing a bad lurker timing or something.
Yeah. And what is Eon Zerg doing at the other side of the map? Do we have lurkers out? Yeah, okay. Lurkers are done. What's our hive timing looking like? On the way. Okay. Yeah, everything's going pretty smoothly here for Eon Zerg, and he hasn't had to make a lot of mutas. This has been kind of like the minimal commitment is that 11 mutas.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll see Zergs overmake them and then just like keep recycling out the low HP muta over and over again to ramp up the pressure and force trades with the bio. But Eon seems really comfortable not to do that, and he's gonna have a very strong economy as a result. I mean, look at the supplies already. Eon is ahead by a stupid amount. Like, this should not happen unless you're trading with the bio really well, but he hasn't even had to do that. He's like picked up a medic and a few marines here and there, and he hasn't been punished for it. Like, the bio ball is pretty big, but now it's too late to get anything done. There's plenty of lurkers out.
Yeah, he did at least scan exactly on top of the lurkers, so he knows they're up here. But I mean, a bunch of lurkers on high ground like this, and the bio ball is, like you said, it's decent, but with 6 lurkers here, there's no way we're busting up a ramp into this. So yeah,
it's a bit unfortunate for Rasavi, man. Like, This style needs to be, if you want to delay your factory, you need to be hyper aggressive with the mid-game timings, and he's just been too passive, unfortunately. I mean, he'll still be able to have a chance at turning this around gradually, but I don't even see that happening. Eon is just like exploded in his economy. All his tech is on time, nothing is delayed, and he probably will get a relatively easy 4th gas as well, which is the one thing you can't let the Zerg do on this map.
Yeah, if he gets into a 4th gas, it also transitions into an easy 5th gas if he ever ends up needing it, although that kind of rarely ends up happening. I mean, like you said, there's always like some comeback in this matchup as well. Like, you get some really good irradiates, you kill a bunch of the muta or all the muta, then it opens up the opportunity for drops. Like, we've seen comebacks like that before, but part of the scary part with Zerg, or Eon Zerg specifically, is that he's such a solid player. It's so hard, even if you catch him like this, somehow it's still like he understands what his weaknesses are going to be. We at least get to deny those drones. There's like a small moral victory there for Razui.
Yeah, but he's just had his engineering bay killed. I'm not sure if that was the +2 or the +1 armor, but if that's the +2 weapons, that's gonna be such a kick in the teeth, man. Oh my days. Yeah, I'm feeling for him a little bit here. He's got his first couple of vessels out now. Gonna start churning irradiates onto the lurker line down there. It looks like Eon Zerg cleaning up the top left marine as well, making sure he can finally get this 4th base underway. And I think Rasavi is going to be in so much trouble if he doesn't punish this. I don't think you can allow this to go uncontested.
Yeah, I mean, he's at least like been macroing decent. Obviously, when supply's even, it's not great for Terran, but considering how much damage he's taken, he's at least, you know, staying somewhat competitively. And this is a good radiate actually on a bottom muta there. It's gonna be kind of hard for the split there. So yeah, you see that. Look at that damage. That was a great irradiate.
Right, yeah, that's pretty good. And that's one of the things I saw Flash doing a lot back in the day. Like, rather than just irradiating the top muta, like, you try and click on the very edge of the pack and get one of the ones that are harder to fish out, and you end up getting crazy amounts of damage. It looks like he's building a 3rd CC to float over. It's pretty modestly timed. I guess it's not too bad considering the state of the game, but he has to be hyper aggressive up here in the top left, get some irradiates onto this stack of lurker, and punish this 4th base at the bare minimum.
I mean, he's got time potentially to break it if the vessels are up here, because there's no Nidus going to be starting just yet, right? Because he's going to have to make a drone and then start the Nidus, so he's got a fair amount of time in that sense. But Eon Zerg, to keep him from doing that, from pressuring that, is actually pushing across the map at this moment. And this is actually kind of a cool play because, oh, nice play. Oh my god, every single vessel.
Yeah, it's rough. This is nice from Eon Zerg. He's kind of taking a lot of central control by doing this, but it is a bit of a flimsy way of playing Zerg as well. It can go very wrong for you very quickly if you make a few small missteps. But that plague, I think, has more than made up the difference there, despite being in a precarious situation and almost losing his defilers. Now here come the mutas to try and snipe 5 of those plagued vessels.
This is, even though I'm a Terran player, I find it so satisfying when a muta comes in and just starts popping all the 1 HP vessels. There we go. 2 vessels, 3 vessels gonna go down. That's huge. 4 and 5 gonna go down as well. He's like, here, you worked for these. You can have them.
He's mining at his 3rd, so his economy is okay, but relative to Eon Zerg, Eon is just ahead in pretty much every metric. And he's losing his timing to punish this top left. He's going for a D-Matrix play to surround these lurkers, but not with enough forces. And suddenly Eon Zerg should be able to hold this base in the top left now. And Eon is distracting Rasavi in the center. We'll be cleaning up that force, but at the cost of being unable to punish this 4th base.
Yeah, it was a cool little attempt from Rasavi, but it is too late, right? The Nidus is online. And this is kind of what I was trying to get to earlier. But Eon Zerg, what I kind of liked about this attack, even though it was like kind of inefficient, right, didn't do super well, it did actually buy him time to get the Nidus up and get that defended, because it completely distracted Rasavi from breaking that base. So it was a little bit of a donation in that sense from Eon Zerg, but there was a big payoff and reason for it at least.
Right. He's losing pretty much every vessel that he can make as well. Like, he's got a decent standing army of bio. This is a nice catch as well, shutting down these lurkers. Looks like he's pressuring the top left natural as we speak, but yeah, I'm not sure if he can break that ridge line against those couple of stacked lurkers without too many irradiates. And you have to wait, obviously, for the Irradiate to finish before you can cast another one when they're stacked like this. And he's got another 2 lurkers underneath and hatching as well. Does do a good D-Matrix play to try and get in there. Sends the D-Matrix Marine a little bit too deep, actually, so the lurker retargets the ridgeline, but he is actually breaking. This is potentially a big turning point for Razmi. If he can kill this Nidus, this is actually not too bad for him anymore. If he can actually shut down this base before Eon can get in here and clean it up, that'd be great, but there's a lot of lurkers coming in to save it.
Man, it's actually such a shame. This was such a good break from Razwi. If we had those like 7 vessels that we just lost kind of for free, at this moment, like, I actually think this could have been a game-turning moment here.
Yeah.
If he's irradiating like all these lurkers as they're coming in, he actually breaks this base, I think. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate that he took all that damage earlier, because this was a great attempt, and vessels are one of the 2 kind of comeback mechanics for Terran, right? It's vessels and drops generally are the comeback mechanics.
Yeah, in a weird way, like the vessels are your main army units, and the Marines become like supporting units to keep the vessels alive. That's how important the vessels are. But yeah, he's had like 7 or 8 vessels die already in this game. He's just not keeping up with Eon's curve at all. It was a nice play to try and get up there in the top left, just didn't have the supporting units. And now he's doing some mines out on the map. Okay, he's got a reasonable count of vessels now, back up to 5. Needs to be careful not to throw any more of them away, though.
Yeah, kind of not paying attention. I'm gonna lose 2 vessels here for 3. Actually, that one gets away with like 1 hit left, so something. But yeah, just it's kind of the nature of playing SK Terran. Look, us foreigners, we're not very fast. Okay, SK Terran is a very fast-paced style and is very hard to keep up with.
Yeah, he's actually quite fast in terms of his APM, but yeah, the mechanics are suffering a little bit. He's seen that Eon Zerg is looking to do a bit of a Hydra Defiler Lurker style, so might want to consider getting a gas expansion online so he can throw down some additional factories and maybe go like triple tank production as well on top of this. But it's going to be a little bit challenging for him to set up his own 4th base now that Eon Zerg is just powering up on 5 bases.
Yeah, he does have that 3 o'clock for that gas if he wants it. He's going to lose a ton of bio up here to this lurker force, and it's going to be threatening this 3rd base. But yeah, he's got that 3 o'clock for the excess of the extra gas, and you're absolutely right. Like, against this style, you do want that kind of 3-fact tank production. Unfortunately, it seems like he got a little bit stuck, so he's been doing a lot of this mine play, which I really, really like, but you kind of want that more against like the Ling Ultra style, more so than the Hydra Lurker.
Yeah. He hasn't even made a refinery at that base yet, which I think is a bit of an oversight. Like, he desperately needs some more gas coming in, and he's just not going to get it at this rate. He's so distracted putting out the fires that Eon Zerg is causing. He's doing a reasonable job of hanging on, but let's see if he can break top left, because Eon Zerg's counterattack is kind of leaving this top left a little bit exposed, but Lurker Spines, oh my god, that's so efficient. Oh, that's a shame, because if he actually kills this base here, there's technically a comeback potential, even if it is slim, but losing all that forces for free and you don't kill the base, Terran is very quickly going to be having to GG out at this rate.
Yeah, like, he held on. He was up to 4 bases. If he did break that and kills that off, like, it's still kind of playable, but I think with that being defended as well as it was, and you know, Eon Zerg is going up to 5, 6 bases now, actually, so
yeah,
this Zerg eco is pretty insane.
Oh my gosh, he's going to lose tons of SCVs here as well. Insult to injury, man. Eon Zerg just flying right now, like 36 supply ahead of Rasavi. And he's going to be stretching him very thin as well, trying to cover these different angles while he needs to get up here to the top left and punish this expansion. I just don't think he's got the mechanics to do everything that he needs to do. He's got a fleet of 8 vessels, but they're pretty low on energy.
Yeah, and even this one is Ling kind of being forgotten about here, just killing a bunch of SCVs. Like, I mean, we see it now. Razwi's up or down 40 supply. We're gonna get some irradiates coming down on these lurkers and stuff, and it looks like he might actually be able to break this base. There's no defiler here to stop him from breaking through this, so it is gonna be a small win. God, that lurker gets so many marine kills. We're gonna scan forward. I love this, trying to get to the Nidus Canal in time.
Yeah.
This is a way to kind of make sure you kill these bases. And
absolutely,
Eon has a lot of supply. Okay, it's all just pouring through the Nidus now.
Yeah, it's a shame he doesn't have enough energy for like a D-Matrix or something to like hold the line against the flood from the the Nidus so he can just quickly push to it before any lurkers and defilers get through. Seems like this force is doomed to die at the moment, and yeah, he's not mining gas at the fourth base. He's not mining at the third base. This is going to be lights out for Rasavi very quickly unless he can pull some miracles out.
Yeah, what's the attack upgrades on the bio? Because the Zerg's at 3 armor for sure, and it just felt like the lurkers were not dying as they came in there. Yeah, 2 attack versus the 3 armor is pretty rough.
Yeah, I think he did lose the timing on that +2 weapons on that eBay earlier, and that's really slowed him down in his progression this game. I think he's done most things right. It's just the execution is not up to the same level that Eon Zerg's is, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is very forgivable.
Yeah.
Razui is a good player by his own right. You know, he sits
Absolutely.
on a high A, low S quite often, actually. But yeah, there's just different levels. And unfortunately, Yuns are kind of showing us that he is a tier above Razui here, at least in this first game. And I think the Swarm kind of just keeps coming now. We see this a lot in this matchup. One Zerg gets like really comfortable, there just becomes a non-stop stream of units across the map. More so with the Ultra style, but you can see it here as well.
Yeah, it's quite literally like a Sauron Zerg style the later the game develops against Terran. You've just got so much economy, you might as well be throwing non-stop units at the Terran and always keep them on the defensive so they can't do anything about your crazy economy.
Yeah, you end up getting stuck in the cycle of you're just defending the endless swarm of Zerg while they continue to expand across the map. And
yeah, and Eon Zerg's doing that. He's taking the 6 o'clock now as well to supplement some of the gases that will become depleted in his main and natural around about now at the 22-minute mark. And unfortunately for Rasavi, there's just not enough money coming in. His naturals and main is pretty much mined out. This base at the 3 o'clock is going to be under constant siege as well. It's just really unfortunate.
Yep. Yeah, it's just a matter of time now before Razui accepts his fate. This one Marine probably not going to be able to hold down the fort. You know, GG going to be called, and Eon Zerg is going to take this first game in this best of 3.
Pretty convincing game from Eon Zerg there. Yeah, I think we already touched upon what the issues were in that game. Like, he goes for a 1 Raxacad style that doesn't really force the Zerg to do anything like making extra Sunkens or Lings. And then he just wasn't able to get map control against the Mutalisks. Maybe even made a bit too many defenses at that timing as well, throwing down non-stop turrets. And if he could just get out onto the map and maybe start to punish Eon before lurkers were online, that game would look a lot different. Or if he could keep his vessels alive and break the top left later, yeah, he just missed out on a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't know if he saw the lair timing or not. I'm going to assume that he didn't because it was cross-spawn. He may have missed it. And I guess he was scanning looking for the 3rd hatchery, like you mentioned. And I think he just misread that this was much heavier Muta style than what it was. Because Eon Zerg does tend to play that way. He's usually very, very aggressive with Mutas.
Right.
So I can understand why he thought that was coming, because that is generally my experience against Eon as well. So I think he just kind of misread the situation.
I think you might be right there. And yeah, Eon Zerg definitely went for a much more macro-centric style that maybe Rasavi just wasn't anticipating and couldn't get a read on. A bit unfortunate because a player that's better than you, that has a more efficient economy as well, seems almost insurmountable. Like, it just is not a fun time, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah, and he did lose a lot of SCVs, even to the kind of like low commitment to Muta as well. I feel like anytime Zerg gets to, I mean, it's tough when you have a good Zerg and they get to 11 Mutas. I feel like no amount of bio can make me kill 11 Mutas when they're like really high level like that. And you saw like Eon, he just made the 11, but he got so much. He didn't really kill a lot of the bio, but he killed a lot of SCVs and was forcing a lot of turrets with it.
Right, and I can see in the chat now Rasavi is talking about the game a little bit, saying that he messed him up with mutas too much, needs to play more turret defense. But I think that's the problem, is that his mindset is too much like, oh my god, I need to be afraid of these mutas. And I think that's the thing that's going to be hurting him rather than helping him.
Yeah, I agree. It's a crazy take when you make, what was it? It was like, I think it was 11 turrets, and he was like, oh, I didn't have enough turrets. That was the problem.
That's the problem with StarCraft. It's very easy to get tunnel vision on the game, and it's hard to like step back and analyze out of the box when it's your game that you're thinking about, right?
Yeah.
Well, looks like both players are ready. So let's jump right into our game number 2 here. Rasavi versus Eon Zerg on Sylphid. And spawning here. Over on the left-hand side, the Zerg gamer, Eon Zerg.
And his opponent on the right spawn, our blue Terran, our blue Terran Razuli. I almost said Terran Protoss player.
Nice. Smooth, RC, smooth.
I don't know where my brain's at, man.
At least you didn't get 12 o'clock spawn, right? That's something.
Yeah, I was going to say, thank God we didn't get 12.
Now, this map is pretty brutal for dealing with mutas in the sense that your natural is pressed up against the cliff face. Sometimes you have to make turrets in awkward positions, so it's effectual mining optimization, but it is what it is. You kind of got to bite the bullet on that. But actually, if you're comfortable playing with Valkyries, like the fantasy build is so good on this map. Going for like a tank Valkyrie push, it's actually really hard for Zergs to play against here.
Yeah, 1000% agree. So I almost banned this map because of 12 o'clock spawn TVZ, unironically. But then I came to the conclusion that it's time to learn Valkyrie builds, because Valkyrie builds are they're just good. I honestly see almost no downside to them, obviously, unless like they're not going mutas and it's some sort of like weird all-in or weird build. But generally, they're really good. Like you said, Tang Valkyrie on this map is super strong.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just really important. Like you mentioned, part of the problem is like your natural, especially the 12. This one not as bad, but it's very pressed up against your mineral patches as well. So like when you're building turrets and stuff, you start closing yourself in like very, very easily, and pathing can be difficult and all that stuff. So yeah.
Right. Players having a little bit of back and forth chatting as well. Apparently, Eon Zerg has a handicap. I'm not sure why.
Seems like only Razway is aware of it.
You see something we don't. There's going to be another wall in here from Rasavi. You pretty much expect Terran to do this more or less every single game, unless they're doing like a 10-10-10 crazy aggressive build or something. Because you looked at, I didn't actually see him lift the CC.
I didn't notice that either.
Oh, I didn't see that. No. Interesting. Oh my god, Eon is so good mannered. Look at that. He's offering a re. And Rastavi's like, no, I might get 12 o'clock.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Eon Zerg's done that with me quite a bit. He actually is like really good mannered in that sense about a lot of this. But he's bopped me quite a few times, and he's usually like pretty nice about it. I've had games where sometimes you lose and you tilt, and it's like, this guy's way better than me. I'm like wasting both of our time. So they're like, make any map. And he'd be like, no, you should pick. I'm like, honestly, I don't think it matters. And then he'll purposely pick like a really bad ZVT map or something.
Right. By the way, as a Terran player, how do you accidentally lift off a building? I've never quite understood that. Like, there's no key around it that you need to push. So how does that happen?
There are some players. I don't know if Razway is one of these. For him to have done it, I feel like he must be. So because you're typically hawking in the early game, a lot of Terrans will do like 0-9 for their command centers. They will actually change their liftoff hotkey to like O or P, or sorry, they'll change their SCVs to like O or P, and sometimes they'll fat finger L.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yes, they want like Protoss style worker macro where like they've got that key underneath the 0, 9, and 8.
Yeah.
So they've got all the other hotkeys for barracks and what have you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get behind that. By the way, really good micro from Eon Zerg killing that SCV scale was pretty insane.
Yeah. That's always like a scary thing too, especially when I'm playing on ladder or something, and I play against the Zerg, and they start like moving shot my SCVs or something like perfectly, and I can't get away from them. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's good. We're in trouble.
Yeah, well, not only is he good, but he might just kill me with an all-in Ling or something. You don't even know what he's doing. Is it 2-hatch lurker? Is it all-in Ling? Is it just a normal new muta off 2-hatch? You just don't know as well.
Yeah, losing that first SCV is like really, really painful.
Right.
Because normally you're expected to kind of guaranteed get information, especially on the 3-player map, of what Zerg is doing. And the moving shot being able to shut that down, so you don't know the layer timing anymore, which is huge if that ever gets, denied. And the spry timing, which is all really important, because if you know the layer timing, you typically can tell if it's going to be 2-hatch or 2.5 hatch. It tells you the muta timing, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Helps you narrow down the range of possibilities for sure.
Yeah, because there's two there's basically 3 different muta timings, right? There's the 2 hatch timing, the 2.5 hatch, and the 12 pull timing. And the reason this is important is because you need your eBay at different times based on the layer timing.
Yeah. So like for example, if it's a 12 pull timing and they're going to be doing like a 2 hatch all in muta, you need to be really sharp with your eBay and turrets, or you're just dead.
Yeah, a lot of Terrans are like, we're kind of programmed to drop our eBay at 5 minutes no matter what. And these spawns, like, it's extra scary because it's pretty close to his natural. And yeah, if it's like a 12 pull or something and you don't recognize that and you drop that 5-minute eBay, it's a free loss.
Pretty much. It looks like Eon's being a tiny bit more greedy this game. Like he's, taking a very fast third base on location up here in the top right, in the top middle natural. This is a punishable, but if you don't know that this is happening, it's really hard to be decisive and try and go for a kill on that as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised he made this sunken. I guess he just wants to save larva for the mutas. Didn't want to risk having to make lings or anything like that in case there was a move out for the
yeah, I would say so. But yeah, in theory, like if you knew this third hatchery was up here, you could theoretically kill this before you have to defend against the mutas. But to make that decisive call, you need good scouting information, which he just doesn't have.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't make our bunker or turret here, so this depot is going to become a liability for Razui.
Yeah, like ideally, you should have like a bunker below this depot, or at least an additional turret to cover these two, because not only can you kill the depots, but you can bait Marines into a bad trade if they try and defend it.
Yeah, this was almost a kill your own depot angle, potentially, to prevent the glaive bouncing. Yeah. I've seen games where Terrans will straight up lose from these depots, depending on like the positioning and stuff. Like it'll be bouncing and killing other turrets or something. So gotta be a little bit careful about.
Absolutely. He's going for 4 turrets on his production line again. He's really scared about the mutalist potential of the Eon Zerg, and that's kind of the problem with Terrans. If you play too safe, you're never going to grow fast enough to keep scaling with them.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, and when you're making all these turrets, like, yeah, you're maybe deflecting the mutas a bit better, but you're also telling a Zerg that you're not going anywhere yourself either.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to kill a lot of muta.
Yeah, the mutas are really damaged here. 2 are very close to death. Wasn't terrible, and honestly hasn't lost that many SCVs. It's a very playable situation for Rasavi going forward, but he needs to be decisive. He can't just stay on defense forever. He's going to have to start gaining map control soon. Yeah,
when he killed that many, he killed a few mutas and damaged them quite a bit. That wouldn't have been a bad angle to scan and see what was coming out of the Zerg's natural, and potentially pressure here, because the mutas are going to be bruised up, and if you can force them to fight, you actually could potentially clean up a lot of them.
And it's like one way you can actually get value from making that many turrets, because you're covered more back at home while you're moving out with the bio, so it kind of makes sense to do that. But once again, he's being very tentative about how far forward he goes with his bio. He's going to be losing a bunch of SCVs, and this is only good for the Terran if they actually get compensation by, say, moving over here and busting at the front or killing the third. But he's taking his sweet time moving across the map with these Marines.
Yeah, he kind of stopped here in the middle for a bit, which is actually a pretty big problem. Trying to get settled back in at home in the meantime, but yeah, I think if he kills the 12 base, it's not as bad, but I mean, his SCV count is so low that I don't even know if that would be enough at this point.
Well, yeah, and Zergs have like figured out that actually you don't need a third base to keep playing against Terran. You can stay on 2 bases for a decent amount of time. As long as you've done enough damage to the Terran, it's actually a lot more playable than we used to think back in the day. Oh, that's a pretty good catch. That's a very good catch on the mutas here by Rasavi. And look at this, though. Eon Zerg has really heavily overmade mutas, so he's not going to slow down either.
Yeah, gonna catch 2 medics here, though, on the top side means the healing is drastically reduced for this bio ball. And, there is a few more mutas here kind of in the wings, but we're at that 11 stack right now, probably still making even more muta, but this bio ball is getting pretty softened up without many medics left, it's going to be a little bit huffing. Okay, here come the Hydras now.
It's kind of funny because he's like making the amount of mutas that you would make if you were doing something like Crazy Zerg, but he's not. He's just heavily making mutas rather than a few extra drones and slowing down his lurker timing, right? Like he could have had like 9-minute lurkers. Instead, he's delaying his lurker timing by almost a whole minute to just make sure he can have total map control here in the center.
Yeah. I mean, Razui is on 4x production. The mutas are going to die back in here again. I assume if we're going to be doing this, we must be making lurkers with these bases or something. If not, this is like kind of brave. Okay, yeah, there are the lurkers, so that makes sense then. Because, man, if he was doing this without lurkers, I'd be like, brother, you can die for this. You got to be careful.
Yeah, he has really delayed the lurkers though. So like in theory, if Razui was more aggressive and just ignored these mutas, like theoretically he could break those bases, right? Like especially the base in the top right.
Yeah, I think there was a window, but unfortunately we're kind of coming home trying to deal with these mutas, and we're just taking so many SCV losses. He's got almost nothing left on the natural as well. We're constantly having to rebuild our SCVs. Well, actually, he's actually got more SCVs here than I realized.
I think he's not playing like a light style and cutting SCV production. He's pretty much been making non-stop SCVs, so yeah, that isn't hurting too much on that count, but also is struggling. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? He's actually got a lurkers running in on his front door right now, even some Scourge to deal with a vessel timing. Luckily all the Scourge are dead, so this vessel will live, but this is pretty much a checkmate move. If you contain a Terran with this many lurkers, you ain't ever getting out, and Razui agrees. He taps out. GG is called, and a very convincing 2-0 in this best of 3 series from Eon Zerg. That was a stomp, man.
Yeah, it was. And I think Razui did get in his own head a little bit. Like you mentioned when you pointed it out there in the kind of pre-game lobby, the whole, I didn't make enough turrets, that was the problem, right? So he's definitely in a very defensive mindset against Eon Zerg, which Eon definitely a lot more aggressive this time. A lot more mutas, a lot more pressure, but that lurker follow-up was very, very strong.
Sometimes you got to fight fire with fire, man. If the Zerg's being hyper aggressive against you, sometimes you got to just counterattack and let them kill your SCVs, let them kill a couple of turrets, but you kill their third base. It ain't so bad after that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's actually very valid what you're saying. I think a great example of this, Eon Zerg also is very aggressive Zerg, but then you got players like Jimin as well, very, very aggressive. And players like this, they're so used to controlling the tempo that if you can do things to take the tempo away from them, they actually will sometimes kind of flounder a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. If you even remotely throw a wrench into their game plan, they struggle. And Snow is actually the same way. Like as good as Snow is with his like Reaver control and stuff, he's kind of hitting the beats of the bar that he always hits. So as soon as there's a calculation where actually I can't do those things in that sequence anymore because you're doing something unusual, that's like pretty much the perfect way to play against a player that's hyper aggressive and micro orientated like that.
Yeah, one of the best examples I've ever seen of it was Ray Rain, right? He was kind of like a mid-B Protoss. He's gotten a lot better recently, but he was playing against Jimin, and Jimin is like, he is hitting 2400, 2350 quite often. So he's like a very, very solid S rank cheeser, though. He's like hardcore into his cheese. And G5 told Ray Rain, he's like, hey, I'm gonna give you a build and I want you to try it out on Jimin. And so he just faked expanded and then proxied 2 gates, and Jimin just insta died. He had no idea what to do against it.
Nice. Well, jumping into our next series, we got Yakub versus Striker on Sylphid. Up here in the 12 o'clock position as Protoss, Yakub.
And his opponent here on the left spawn, we have our blue Zerg Striker.
But yeah, and players like Jimin, like the way I described Snow playing is exactly how they all think. They've got all these like very specific timings and nuances to their execution, but as soon as they have to go off-road with that and think about things in relativistic terms, they can't do it. Like it's just not in their calculations at all. They very often tend to crumble as soon as you do something that they're not in control of.
Yep, absolutely. Well, it's like they grind out a lot of games, and it's these play styles where they force you into their game, right?
Yeah.
Jim and Eon Zerg, like players like this are great examples. Bonnet as well is actually a really good example where he forces you into like his standard macro, we're gonna play like especially PvP, where he forces you into we're gonna play Goon Reaver. But if you find players that sometimes do throw it off a little bit, like you see when DeWalt takes games off Bonneth, it's usually because the game got a little bit funky.
Right. Yeah, because like in theory, DeWalt is a better player than Bonneth, right? But if Bonneth doesn't let you play your game, then it's not going to go your way. So you kind of have to find a way of taking the game off-road in one way or another.
Yeah.
Well, just like Forge, fast expand here from Yakub. And an overpull, I think that was from Striker. So very standard PvZ openings. He's actually hiding the drone right now. And also the Overlord, so that Yakub has to check the main base for a 9 pull, and that gives you pretty much a guaranteed timing on your hatchery in the natural without worrying about a block.
Yeah. Yep, we're gonna see that 13-13 from Yakub. Oh, this is a misread, unfortunately, from Yakub. Gonna go cannon first, which is gonna delay his Nexus quite a bit.
Yeah, because you can go Nexus cannon against an overpull, especially if it's not 6 lings.
Yeah, typically you're doing 13 Nexus, 13 cannon. We basically did 13-13, but we did in reverse, which, you know, it's just extra safe. Not ideal, but you know, Yakub, he is a bit of an up-and-comer. He's a super nice guy. He's joined our Discord recently as well and started hanging out and playing some games with us, but he's like around 1800-ish, I think.
Okay.
So unfortunately, he's playing against Striker, who's one of the best NA Zergs, period. So
let's see how that goes. Got a third base timing here from Striker down in the bottom left pocket expansion. If he keeps this probe alive, that'll be great though, because then, like, because the 973 timing of throwing down that den is like 15 seconds from now, but he actually doesn't keep that probe alive, unfortunately. So Striker can have a field day with pretty much whatever he wants to do. He can play a very solid macro game from here, or go for that 973, and Yakub might have to hedge his bets and make cannons he doesn't even need, for example.
Yeah, it's tough. It's always tough. Information gathering is the hardest part of this matchup for Protoss, and anytime you go in the dark, it gets tough, because then you start feeling like you need to prepare for everything, but if you prepare for everything, you die to anything.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you kind of want to make a second cannon here, just because even like an all-in ling could kill you, theoretically, like with the holes in the wall. And then obviously the 973, and until your Corsair is out, you just don't know. You could try and like be hyper aggressive with the Zealot and try and run the Zealot across the map, but that only really works with like a gateway expand where you've got more Zealots to do that with. With a Forge fast expansion, you probably can't even make that risk. And as a result, you pretty much are relying on that Corsair timing, which means that you kind of have to make a second cannon, and you kind of have to make a third cannon, which you then cancel once the Corsair confirms that there's no Hydras on the way.
Yep, that would be pretty much the most cookie cutter way of handling it. You can do, especially against lesser players, like a 3 Zealot or 5 Zealot, kind of fake push out to push Lings back and maybe sneak a probe out or something to try and get information that way. But usually against players like Striker, like, he's going to see that with an Overlord or spot the probe coming out and try to catch it still. But it is like a way of, like, if you're kind of desperate for information, you can try plays like that.
Yeah, well, he is kind of go for a 2 Zealot timing here, see if he can get out on the map. And this is a bit of a gamble though, right? Like, you don't know for sure if this is a safe play. You're just kind of hoping for the best, that you can get some scouting information with these couple of Zealots. And you can see he's hesitant to actually commit them fully across the map. Maybe hoping at least to force some lings that Striker didn't want to have to make. But he's going to have to rely purely on that Corsair to scout things out. And honestly, he's been very brave. He stayed on 1 cannon this entire time. That's extremely brave. In a different world where Striker was more aggressive, we'd be calling him foolish. But that's like the nature of StarCraft, right? Like, sometimes you're right and look like a genius, and sometimes you're wrong and look like a fool. And in this case, it actually works out for him.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because it reminds me of when I was watching it was Kava versus Doodle, I think, and I was watching it with Wolfix. And we said something like, I was like, I think this is good for Protoss. And he's like, I think this is good for Zerg, or vice versa. I don't remember which one it was. And you know, you can always like theory craft like this is good, this is bad, yada yada. But the thing is like, well, I guess we'll find out whenever who wins at the end. Means that we're correct. Which, of course, it doesn't work that way, but yeah, it does feel that way a lot of times.
Yeah, you see the exact same thing in poker, right? Where like you're bluffing someone, and if they call you, you look like a sausage monkey. But if you make them fold, then you look like an absolute G. Oh my god, he kills the Corsair.
Oh man.
Oh my days. So the win percentage for a striker just shot through the roof right now. Losing the first Corsair is about as nightmarish as it gets for Protoss.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake from Yakub there to even commit to the Overlord. You want to get full gathering, like information gathered before you really even think about Overlords. You want to check the gases, you want to check the Spire timing, and you know, if you commit to an Overlord, you don't know when those Scourge are coming out. You got to pay attention kind of to your own Corsair timing, that kind of thing. And yeah, unfortunately, tried to commit to the Overlord and lost the Corsair for it. And that is like super snowbally because we don't know. He doesn't know if this is going to be like just the Scourge, if it's going to be 5 muta, if it's a 3 gas like big muta commitment. It can be so many different things right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you'll probably always see the 5 muta as like a Zealot cleanup force, but you don't know if that's going to be like a full Ogre's commitment beyond that or what have you. He has got, I think, a Sunken at each base as well as these initial Mutalisks, and unfortunately, I don't think Yakub's going to get a whole lot done. This is a bit sad because he still doesn't even know what the follow-up play is. Like, making these 5 mutas is not telling. Like, this is a pretty standard thing to do for Zergs. You don't know if they're making another 5 behind this and they'll go for Templar snipes or diving into the main with Scourge. You just don't know. Like, this could be a 6-hatch Hydra build. You've got no way of knowing.
Yeah, there's nothing more heartbreaking when you think it's 5 muta and you come out with like 5 or 6 Sarah +1 and then you run into like 8 muta and 20 Scourge with +1 armor. Like, and there's just no way to know.
Pretty much. I mean, that's why the meta now is to actually make a Dark Templar, right? Like, you don't even make the DT to do damage. It's quite literally to scout because the Sares can't confirm without risking losing the game.
Well, that was ballsy. Yakub coming out, giving Striker a little love tap. Striker runs away. Doesn't want any of Yakub's love, unfortunately for him. And behind the Striker, very healthy on the drone count. Pretty decent, but we started that 6-hatch Hydra production. And I'm afraid for Yakub, he's just going to never really get out of his base.
Yeah, I mean, Striker's going to probably get away with this 4th base. Oh my god, he's making an Archon. That is
not good.
Not ideal. Not ideal, to say the least. If this was an Ogre Zerg build, then this would be a-okay. If it's a 6-hatch Hydra build, this is probably the worst decision you could make, and it is pretty much the 8? 9? Oh, 7, okay.
7 plus the one lost one. And with the Archon, I think Yakub thinks it was. He just saw the Scourge and assumed this was like a mass air style.
Potentially, yeah. Although it's not that uncommon to make this many Scourge anyway. Okay, we lost 1. I guess it's not the end of the world.
Okay. Yeah, lost 1, and somehow 4 different Corsair took a hit from a Scourge. That's actually kind of crazy when everything's in a ball like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to split your Scourge against Corsairs, though, to be fair. But yeah, I feel like Striker's going to run away with this game. I imagine he's going to stay on Lair Tech for a very long time and just keep the Protoss player on 2 bases, essentially. That's pretty much what you have to do in this situation.
Yeah, it's really hard for Protoss to get out and take a 3rd gas at this point. Even if he does take a 3rd, it's more likely, or I guess it's maybe easier to get the mineral-only base in these spawns and locations and kind of the situation, but it helps, but you really, really want that 3rd gas as Protoss in this matchup.
And the only 3rd gas that's safe is the foe's high ground, which mines out quickly as well. So even if you do get it, it's not necessarily going to be a great case scenario for you either. Well,
oh no, bit of a whiff storm there from Yakub. Lost another Corsair as well, another one very low. Takes another hit, but survives. 2 of them are a little bit of a low HP. And behind this, I'm pretty sure Striker's just massing tons and tons of Hydra. Even some Lurkers actually set up here. And I think there was no Observer, right, for Yakub, so he won't be able to push forward.
Yeah, I didn't see one, so yeah, this attack is going to be halted right away, unfortunately.
Oh, we're hold position as well.
Oh my god, that's so brutal. Oh, he's going to take so much damage on these Zealots, man. Whew. This is about as good as it gets for a Zerg player without just straight up winning the game, unfortunately.
Yeah. Doesn't lose a lot of them, but they're so bruised now that the Hydras will be able to gun them down very, very quickly if a fight breaks out.
Yeah. I guess luckily for Yakub, Striker's been reasonably defensive this game, so he's not like trying to punish this retreat. Like if he was more active with his hotkeys, he could have probably pincered that army as it was retreating from this massive rally point at the third base here. But I think Striker, yeah, it's okay. Striker, I think, is just doubling down on powering up, getting this fourth base saturated and not getting too aggressive right now. He realizes just how fantastic the spot is. Even losing those mutas there isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. Almost kind of lackadaisical there for Striker.
A little bit, yeah. He's like he's just chilling or something. Smoking a pipe while he plays.
This is so many zealots, by the way. We have what, like 1 Dragoon or 2 Dragoons? Yeah, literally 2 Dragoons for anti-air at this moment. And part of this is because we've made so many Corsair as well. He did at least clean up those mutas, so the Corsair kind of can run around and kill Overlords potentially. We're paying attention. We saw one go down on the left side here and gonna pick off a little bit more. So it's a little bit annoying for Striker to deal with since he lost those muta Scourge.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe anything is better than nothing here for Yakub, but he's really going to start falling behind the curve of this game. You're absolutely right, though. The fact that he had to produce so many Corsairs, like he should have like 1.5 to 2 control groups worth of Dragoons right now, and he just doesn't. He's not going to have a strong enough army to contest this force from Striker. He needs like the best storms you've ever seen in your life to beat this army.
Yeah, and he's been needing expansion as well, but he was waiting for the Observer, right? The Observer was very, very delayed. So this also like eats into his next. I mean, cheeky little snipe there from Striker on the Corsair.
Yeah, it's 13 minutes and he's still not tried to take a base. I'm really worried for him. He's gonna get absolutely decimated in the mid game now. Like Striker's gonna take a 5th base behind this and just chill. Like Striker doesn't actually have to do anything until he tries to take the base.
Yeah, and it looks like he is finally pushing out for the mineral only. And you know, Yakub has nice supply. Well, okay, well, I guess we're not taking it just yet. Still, I thought those zealots were Nexus. I mean, Yakub has a nice supply to fight against Lair Tech. The problem is that he's gonna have to fight a lot of reinforcements from Zerg throughout this, and this is kind of, you know, a one army type thing for Yakub because he is going to be mining out.
Maybe the game plan from Yakub was to do like a 2-base all-in style. I don't know how many gateways he's got, but if he's got like 9 or 10 gateways, okay, actually he hasn't got that many. Okay, he's got about 9 total, right?
Yeah, it'll be 9.
I think maybe the idea was to do like a 2-base all-in against this push from Striker and try and catch him transitioning into Hive, but most Zergs that know what they're doing won't even try and go into Hive if you're locked onto 2 bases. They don't need it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can just kind of slam army into you until you basically run out of steam. And this is extremely zealot heavy, so even though the supply is like fightable for Yakub with a proper death ball, it's so zealot heavy that it's actually a little bit misleading because they will just kind of get grinded up by all these lurkers in a big fight.
Right. Yeah, and lurkers they actually kind of hold their own against Dragoons as well. But I guess this isn't a terrible trade for Yakub.
He lost all the obs are way back.
Yeah, the observers just weren't in position to really deal with this. And even if the fight is like 50% efficiency, that's not good enough. We need like 70% efficiency rating to turn this into a win for Yakub. He's taking that mineral only now at like 15 minutes. It's just going to be too slow. We're going to have like a Sauron Zerg style, just slamming into the Protoss, knowing that they've dried up on storms. And even if you trade at an inefficient rating, eventually you'll overwhelm the Protoss regardless.
Yeah, and now with all the zealots down, these lings are getting in here and starting to eat up these dragoons, and dragoons are so bad against lings. GG, well played. Gonna be called by Yakub. Good luck in the finals. Gonna be a 2-0 win for Striker.
Eesh. That's rough, man. Yeah, we've seen some pretty one-sided games here, but not too surprising. I mean, both players were definitely clear favorites over their opponents. Valiant effort from Yakub, and like you say, he's a up-and-coming player. Still got a lot of room to grow. Maybe in the future seasons, like he can gradually grind it out and become a more stronger contender. But for now, he's probably going to have very similar results against most of the top foreigners.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, he joined our Discord, so we're going to beat him mentally. So he's either going to get stronger or he's going to quit StarCraft. We will see what ends up happening.
Yeah, so I've said it in the past where like it's quite literally like StarCraft is like going to the forge, and you're this like piece of metal that just gets hammered over and over again, and eventually you either become a useless piece of slag or a finely honed blade, one of the two, right? It's just kind of the way it has
Yeah.
to go. But yeah, a couple of exciting series we've already watched, guys. But we're going to be going to a little bit of a commercial break now. So run to the bathroom, grab some water, grab some fruit, whatever you got to do. Crack open a beer, and we'll be joining you here for a little bit more of this IPSL monthly action. Don't go anywhere. guys, welcome back to the IPSL Monthly. We've got that third place match coming up, which means Rasovi versus Yakub. Basically the two, weaker players from this semi-finals now, and which means it's going to be a much more closer game. And I actually probably give a bit of a favorite to Rasovi. I think he's a little bit more solid TVP, and his macro style lines up nicely for Yakub.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. Like, it is definitely a stronger matchup than his TVZ, and he's just a strong player in general, as well as he's just gonna be more confident. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's not. I think it's like you said, it's gonna be the closest match that we've had so far for sure. It's also TVP, and look, I even hate to admit this. I was just talking about it this morning. I actually lost to Yakub in best of 3 recently. It's just the nature. It's just the nature of StarCraft. Okay. Or maybe I lost one. I don't remember what it was, but he took a game off me either way. So like, it's winnable for him. He did like a 12 Nexus in the carriers, which is, great. It's a great build.
Pretty good build.
So it does at least show that he does have some variety they can bring to the table as well. And if you're not on top of things, that in TVP, if you miss certain things, you can lose no matter what. So
right. Well, what's your response to seeing a Nexus first? Like, you guy that tries to bust it by pulling the boys? Do you get hyper greedy and go for a mine triple? Like, what's your thought process?
So I have a few different scenarios that I play out. But we can talk about that in just a moment. Looks like our players are ready to go here.
All right, guys. Well, the third place match coming up right now. Rasovi versus Yakub, and the map. It's going to be Attitude. Let's get this thing started. Spawning here. Down in the bottom right corner. It's going to be Rasovi on that Terran.
Here in the bottom left. Using my favorite color in StarCraft is going to be Yakub.
Yeah, Magenta looks good on all 3 races, man.
Yeah, it's a good color.
Yeah, this is a very good Terran map as well.
It's an amazing Terran map, yeah. It doesn't get much better than... It's so funny because it's so similar to Polypoid. But just these like small differences have made it one of the best TVP maps I've personally have played. Whereas Polypoid is a nightmare in a lot of cases.
Yeah, well, you've got like very tight choke points for the Protoss to attack into, so it's much more defendable than Polypoid, in my opinion. However, I have noticed some Terrans get too greedy on this map. Like, you see how defendable it is, and you're like, oh, I can get a greedy 4th base. That's not a problem. And then you just get absolutely bowled over.
Yeah, you do have to be a little bit careful not to get sucked into it too much. It's kind of similar to Knockout in that sense, where I was talking about it. I don't remember who I was talking about it with, but it's like how on Knockout, it's like 973 is bad because of the high ground, right? And because Protoss knows that it's bad for 973, they'll just not prepare for 973 and die to it.
Yeah, I think we've personally even talked about that a lot in the past.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember who it was that I talked about it with, but yeah, I guess it was you then.
Yeah, I think it was definitely us. Yeah, I completely agree with that sentiment. Let's see what builds these guys want to go for. Looks like it is going to be an orthodox style here from Rasovi, and just grabbing that gas at 12. Yeah, and oh wait a minute. Is he doing what I think he's doing? Yakub, that is. Is it? Am I crazy? Is that 2 gate? Oh no, okay. For a second there, I thought he had 2 gateways on the mini map. I was like, wait a minute.
In base 2 gate 10-12 TVT.
I was like, what is happening? I was so confused for a split second.
Yeah, it's funny because I laugh about it, and I'm laughing because that would be horrible. But I laugh about it, but I've also played against it on ladder, where I'm like, someone will go 10-12 3 zealot, and they'll just attack me the first 3 zealots, and I'll be like, did you think this was a PvP? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, not a good build, to say the least. Like, these gateways would have to be proxied to make that even viable, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it looks like we're gonna have a pretty standard game from these two for the time being, unless Yakub decides to do some crazy 1-base build or something, which I highly doubt it. It's most likely gonna be like a 23-25 Nexus or something like that.
Yeah, looking like it's gonna be 23 range there to start as well. We didn't go 14 Zod either, so I didn't expect we would with that gateway placement either. So it's going to be super standard looking from Cube. It's going to be 23. I guess it could be 28, 29, but it's looking more likely to be a 23 right now.
I think that's like the more popular option in the meta as well.
Yeah. Yeah, when I played, I exclusively did 23 Nexus, just with no exceptions. It's a build that's not good or bad against anything.
Right. It's the mid-range style. Yeah, it covers all your bases pretty much.
Yeah, it allows your first goon to go out on the map, and the second goon can stay on one cover for the Vulture if it gets out. And then, yeah, it just kind of covers for everything. Probe is going to be a little bit late here, so it's going to be kind of a late Nexus timing.
You can actually theoretically body block it as well. Look at this SUV timing. That's really nice. Yeah,
kind of punished for the later probe. We need to get that Nexus down.
Oh, wait, did you just forget that the probe was even chasing the SCV? And he's just like distracted, microing the goon at the front? That's really rough. Yeah, because now the probe's got to run all the way back. That's such a delayed Nexus. Go on.
Here's the funny thing about it. Razu is going for an FD, and because you could make this mistake, he's just going to keep bumping goons nonstop, which is unironically going to be really good against what Razu was doing.
That's the horseshoe effect that our Toast talks about, right?
Yeah.
The guy's so bad, he's good, unfortunately.
Yeah, I like to call these false positives. And it specifically applies to Pro DOS players, where they do something that's just objectively wrong or bad, and it turns out okay, and it makes them think, okay, this was a good build, I should do this again.
Well, let's see how he holds it. He got 2 SCVs as well with this army. Still pretty scary, even with 3 Dragoons. So yeah, Rasavi could still get some damage done here.
We are at 3 goons, right? Surely, I would hope so.
He is 3. He's at 3. Yeah.
Okay. Still quick. The reaction is a little bit slow. Gonna get body blocks on because of that, and 1 goon is gonna go down immediately. The second goon also gonna get blocked as well. Wait, maybe this just works anyway then.
That's crazy. The body blocking was exceptional from Rasavi, man. And Yakub just not prepared for that at all, despite having the right tools to deal with this kind of push timing. This is such a successful FD. Oh my days.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there from Yakub. The extra goons are going to come out and maybe he can focus down this tank. He was unfortunate when the tank was coming up the ramp, also still targeting the Marines as well, so this thing going to get a lot of DPS. Now the mines are coming down to the gateways, and this kind of dispels the end. Yeah, GG going to be called, and this FD is going to work, even though it shouldn't have.
Yeah, this is one of these games that just doesn't make sense on paper. It's like, hang on a minute, what? Like, he had the goons but died anyway to a push that wasn't that committed. But it happens. Like, you know, like just because it's a pressure build doesn't mean it can't theoretically kill you as well if you don't micro correctly. And honestly, it was perfect execution from Rasavi with the SCV blocking. Been a long time since we've seen that.
100%. Yeah, you know, I teasing a little bit, teasing Yakub specifically, but it was also like it was a bit of a late reaction, and Rasley immediately noticed that, right? And that was kind of the big thing. He had pounced on that mistake and got those SCVs behind for those body blocks, and that's kind of what forced the end. So really good punishment there from Rasley. Like, you could give 2 players the same situation and it still doesn't work, even if Yakub responds the same way, right? So props to Rasley for abusing that mistake.
Yeah, I loved how he like went super wide on the angle of attack as well. Like he came from a very sharp angle to make sure he could scoop behind the Dragoons. Really, I really like that attack from Rasavi. It's really well done. We're going to be jumping into our second game of this series now, guys. The 3rd place match, Rasavi versus Yakub. Game number 2 on Sylphid. And spawning here in the 12 o'clock position, leading the series 1-0, Rasavi.
And on the right spawn, our magenta Protoss player, Yakub. You know, I'm curious what Yakub comes from. I actually don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea either. Maybe if we ever get an interview of him, that would be a question.
Yeah.
Well, this map is pretty even for TVP. Not too bad for Terran. Also, nowhere near as bad for Protoss's maps like Attitude and what have you. So this could be a fairly even back and forth.
Yeah, I think this map is actually quite even, which is why a lot of Terran players hate it right now, because we're really getting our hand held this season. So when we have a map that comes out even, it's like, oh, this isn't fair. We don't have the advantage anymore.
What are you talking about? It's always like that. It has to be a 50% plus win rate for the map to be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why we like Attitude. It's like 68% or something wild right now.
Yeah, it's a balanced map, right?
Yeah, Protoss has a hard time with it in both matchups too, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, to be fair, the map pool has been pretty Terran-centric this season, which is why one of the reasons why you've got so many Terrans in that ASL round of 24. It was insane. Probably the highest count we've had in, I can't even remember how long, maybe even ever.
And that's what's going to make it that much more beautiful if Jaedong wins ASL.
I hope so, man. I'll be careful not to say too many things about the ASL, just in case a few guys in the chat a little bit delayed with that knowledge. But yeah, you guys should be checking it out. Come on.
All right, gonna be a 12 Nexus from Yakub this time, and I'm curious if he wants to go Forge expand. So I kind of like the Forge 12 Nexus on this map because you can't bunker. You really can't do the like tank marine push that I personally love doing. It's like my favorite thing to do against 12 Nexus because the cannon just there's so much unbuildable right outside the natural.
Yeah. I wonder what variation he's gonna do here. He's gonna just go gateway gas forge, or he hasn't thrown down a second gateway.
So there's something. So you were asking about it, what I like against 12 Nexus. So it depends on what variation they're doing. But if I get first scout like this and I see they're doing the greedy version, I love doing one marine into CC. It is my favorite response because they're going to be cutting when they do the like 2-gate zealot version, and you're actually even or ahead on workers if you go 1-gate CC, one marine CC, because you actually can start your CC before the vulture and still get the vulture in a kill like a probe or two.
Yeah, but do you ever like go even one step further and try like a mine triple expand against a Nexus first, or is that not in your wheelhouse?
I used to do it, and I kept dying to Reaver rushes, so I stopped doing it.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's just, yeah, a lot of Protoss have started kind of doing meta against it, where they just, okay, this is going to be the cannon version. But yeah, they started to do this really, really fast Reavers, or like DT drops or things like this, and when you're spread on 3 bases, it gets really hard.
Right. At the pro level, the mine triple expand seems to be working pretty darn good, but
yeah,
that's kind of metagaming the Protoss players who aren't rushing into Reaver usually after a Nexus first. They're like almost always going observers first.
Yeah, I think mine triple is very good. I just think that I don't have the skill set to make it work as often, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But objectively, I think it is the correct answer.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just hard to execute, right? It's like technically a mech switch in TVZ is the strongest way of playing, but it's also the hardest way of playing, and knowing the timings on when to do it and the context of what makes it work and when you can't get away with it. It's a lot of Terrans struggle with that decision making, let alone the mechanics.
Yeah. This is nice from Razway keeping this SCV alive for as long as he gets good information. This is the other downside of the Forge expand version, or the 12 Nexus Forge version, is that the SCV gets in and gets all the information, so he knows if you're going DT, he knows if you're going Robo, 3-gate, anything like that. You see that Robo here, and this is a case where the tank marine push actually would have worked. It's kind of only weak against the like 4-gate like mass unit style, but otherwise the we're gonna go bio. Okay. Bio tank.
Well, this is pretty aggressive. He's not technically all in. This is, I guess, semi all in, right? You still have to do damage with it, and if he only makes one cannon, then this could work. Well, did he just throw down a pylon or a second cannon? Oh, a pylon. Okay. Well, I think this attack can still very much work then.
I wonder if this is Wolfix's doing, actually. So obviously Razway and Wolfix talk a lot, right? They're both Polish, right? And I was actually talking to Wolfix just like 3 or 4 days ago, and we were discussing specifically ways to deal with Forge, 12 Nexus Forge.
Right.
And he actually said, I'd kind of like to explore the idea of Bio, and he like broke it down for me, Bio against 12 Nexus Forge. And I was like, that actually does kind of make sense. And now we have Razuli doing this, so I think Wolfix got in his ear as well.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
I think that's why we're looking at this.
Well, it's really weird as well because on paper you might be thinking, well, why would he go bio against cannons? It doesn't make sense. But it's because Jakub just won't think that he would dare to do something like that against the cannon variation, right? Like, he's probably not gonna make 2 or 3 cannons in his natural if he can help it, and he's actually setting himself up to deal with a drop timing as well, right? He's building that additional cannon in the main base. He's not even thinking about the likelihood of a bio timing coming down here and punishing him.
Yeah, well, the thing that makes it so strong too, like you're saying, is the timing of it, right? Because the timing typically should hit around, like maybe they'll have one Reaver out, but there's a timing for it where they're just not going to have much splash. They're not going to have like Templar Tech or anything like that. You're going into a bit of a macro game, so they can have some Reaver. But yeah, there's just a very strong timing kind of pre-Reaver, I think, with this build. That being said, Razuli, okay, now we are pushing out here. And like, to me, this looks very strong. And Stem Marines, guys, actually choose up Protoss pretty well. Like, you'd be surprised how well Marines do against Goon Zealot.
Yeah, I can imagine Jakub's eyes just went wide as soon as his observer saw that attack. Like, oh my god, I am not prepared for that. What is even happening? This isn't usually Rasavi's style. What am I even going to do against this? I need like 3 really great Reaver Scarab shots to make this trade even remotely viable. And he doesn't even have a support bay, by the way. Like, he's throwing down the Templar archives in a panic, and I think he might just be dead.
Yeah, I think so. The cannon does offer really good DPS against Marines because it is killing them in 2 hits typically. He's going to target down a tank, which is good. Going to push forward and going to get a second tank. Actually, yeah, okay, there we go. Just barely gets it, but everything else is dead. And yeah, you kind of see what I mean. The Marine DPS against Goon is actually super high. They chew them up very quickly, and that is just going to be the end here for Jakub. I love seeing this.
Yeah. This is a really nice build from Rasavi, and I was literally just talking to you off air about how important it is to like mix up your style in tournament settings, because the other guy won't even be thinking about you deviating from your norm. And like Rasavi's known as this like super standard macro guy that there's no way Jakub would have pieced that attack together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty interesting from Razuli. That's pretty cool. I'll have to ask him later if that was from Wolfix or... It'd be pretty cool if Razuli came up with that on his own, coincidentally, after we talked about it, but...
Either way, it was a very cool build and well executed as well. So yeah, really nice to see that. I love it when people are mixing up things in tournaments. Like, you kind of have to when you get to a higher level.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely you do. It's extremely important to
like
have a big variety of builds.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
the only like exception to that would be if you're quite literally better than everyone. Like, if you're Bonnet and your micro is just better than everyone's, then maybe you can get away with like allowing them to take advantages from being metagamed, and you can still claw that way back from like forcing interactions with your supreme micro. But in pretty much every other situation, you gotta mix it up.
Yeah. It reminds me of there was a game where Exit played against Goose, but I'll talk about that in a moment. We're going to head into the game here, guys. It's going to be our first game, Eon Zerg versus Striker on Attitude.
And spawning here in the top right as the white Zerg, Eon Zerg.
And his opponent here, Crosspawn, going to be our blue Zerg Striker.
Did you watch that BSL game where who was it? I think it was Crossy versus Eon Zerg. I think it was on Litmus. I might be wrong about the map, but basically Crossy like put drones on his ramp and like hovered overlords over the drones and completely glitched out Eon's lings, and Eon Zerg like .exe just stopped working.
We casted that one together, I think. I think it was you and me.
Might be right. Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, that was wild.
I was just thinking about that game now.
Was it Crossy or was it Striker? I actually don't remember.
Yeah,
it was Crossy.
I think it was Crossy, but I guess I'm pretty sure.
I just remember thinking it was pretty awesome the way it played out, like because Eon made it like a bunch of lings, right? And then
right.
And then he was just invulnerable to lings. It was like the coolest thing.
And it goes back to what we were saying earlier, how like a player is so used to being in control of the game that as soon as like something unexpected happens, they just don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Okay, well, build order win here for Striker. A bit of a delayed pull. But build order wins aren't as important as people think they are in ZVZ. You can easily turn it into a win regardless of what the opener is, depending on, you know, the spawns as well. So I guess because it's cross map, it'll be a little bit harder for Eon Zerg to still come back from being in a build order deficit. That's something to note.
Yeah, it's I've learned to like ZVZ a lot as I've learned a lot more about the game, and one of the things that really kind of drew me to this matchup a lot more recently was that build order advantages exist, sure, but there's a lot of different ways to play them out. And there's a lot of ways where the better player wins despite the build order advantage or disadvantage.
Yeah.
And then there's also like mind games, and there's a lot of little intricacies that I didn't realize about that exist in this matchup. And a great example, okay, gonna mention J-Dong again. They used to call it JVZ. Apparently, here in recent time, his ZVZ win rate is horrible because everybody is metagaming him.
But do you know what he started doing? He literally started like RNGing his Zerg versus Zerg builds because of that. Yeah. Literally just like doing like a wheel of names or, you know, like a roulette table to just decide what build he would go for, just knowing that he would get metagamed if he didn't.
All right, so we're going to see this dance that we see quite often with this build matchup, and a bit of a bad angle actually to start for Striker. He's going to lose this fight because of that, and this could actually just snowball into a loss. Wow, that is a disaster.
That's crazy. Like, if that didn't happen, he's in a fantastic position. But like we were saying, like just because you've got a build order advantage doesn't mean it's going to translate into a win for you. And this looks like that's going to happen to him here. Like Eon is most likely going to punish this hatchery, and there's nothing Striker can do about it. That's terrible for Striker. Oh, he's not even going to lose the hatchery. He's going to get the Lings caught as well, and now sacrifice drones. That's completely GG.
Well, that's that can happen.
That was cross map. It was so insane to me.
That's what I was literally about to say. I was like, he might not even need to pull drones because this is cross spawn, so he can actually kind of be a little bit lazy with the drones even. But you can't. I mean, it's the same with the Mutaverse Muta fight, guys, as it is with the Ling versus Ling. You get a couple extra hits early, especially in these small numbers, and it can just snowball into an instant loss.
Yeah. One of the reasons why Jadon was like so scary good in ZVZ back in the day was just because like he was slightly better with his mineral optimization relative to everyone else. So like his Lings would be a couple of seconds earlier, so you would like miscalculate how well you could defend or could attack. And I'll jump into this game first now. Game number 2, Striker vs Eon Zerg on Octagon. Spawning here. In the top right on that navy blue Zerg, it's Striker.
And here in the top left, the white Zerg, Eon Zerg. And scouting the wrong direction, unlike his opponent.
Unfortunate. I guess unless you're doing reverse scouting, that's bound to happen in these spawns.
Yeah.
And there is some reasons you would want to reverse scout. Like if you don't know if you want a 12 hatch or 12 pull, if you reverse scout and see the Overlord, you can quickly go 12 pull instead of hatch, knowing that they're going to see the 12 hatch early and could punish you too easily with 9 pull, for example.
Yeah, I was talking to as when I was casting last week with the Goose. He's been wanting me to start doing like a Zerg journey as well now. And I told him, I said, I'm going to break the meta. I'm going to start cross scouting in ZVZ.
That would really be interesting. Yeah, that'd be different.
It's going to put me, it would put you at a disadvantage about, I guess, 75% of the time, or 66% of the time. It's just going to be a disaster. But it would put you in a worse disadvantage than just going the wrong direction first. So,
yeah, definitely thinking outside the box there, Ozzy. Would like to see it. Going back to what I was saying about JVZ. So one of the reasons why he was so dominant, not just because of the better mineral optimization, the better link control, and that kind of thing. It was more so that whenever he got an advantage, no matter how small that advantage would be, he would never lose the game. He would always find a way of compounding that advantage into a win no matter what, which is why his win rate was so insane.
Yeah. And that's a really important thing in ZVZ, especially as you get higher and higher level, is when you get those advantages, you have to hold on to those advantages. It's one of those matchups where once you get a lead, if you just continue to do things correctly, theoretically, you should never lose.
Yeah, pretty much. But let's see what we've got from these two gamers this time around. Striker will be enjoying a bit of an advantage with the scouting information. But Eon will also have a bit of an eco lead. He's taking a hatchery way quicker and technically is optimized build order wise against this, although we did just see him lose in this exact situation, and it's not cross map anymore, so this timing from Eonzo could work yet again if the Ling engagement is good.
Yeah, this is basically them swapping builds for game 2, right? So we'll get to see Eon Zerg's defense here of it, and typically what you're seeing is going to be the 6 Lings with 2 drones to help to defend the hatchery until your hatchery finishes and you get that extra larva advantage, and then you can kind of push the Lings back. But Striker going to get here actually at a pretty good timing to potentially choke him off here. So Eon Zerg immediately going to have to jump on top of this egg to open up that ramp some.
Yeah, and it looks like, you know, Eon doing a better job of defending this time around. He has bought time for 2 drones to join him as well. And Striker doesn't have extra Lings coming right now. I think he has got 2 Lings killing his own. Oh no, just blocking the ramp here. So Eon Zerg's going to get away with it. The one thing to note is that this was a lair first build order from Striker. Yeah. So this is going to be a very optimized Spire timing that Eon will have to contend with.
Yeah, this is an interesting variation. I haven't quite seen 9-pull done this way before. Where they just don't go speed and they don't pressure the 12 pull like at all. So we'll see if Eon Zerg gets caught off guard by the Spire timing, because the Spire timing is pretty insane. So we're gonna see him looking to get some damage here. He's gonna immediately work on this to open up that ramp there some and try to pounce on top of his Lings, but Striker has enough here that he should be able to push this back. And he's skipping speed so far completely, so
yeah.
This is, I guess it's a little bit tough for Eon because you got to get spores faster than you normally do, right? Which hurts a little bit more because your eco's just a little bit less healthy when it's time for that.
Yeah, I mean, Eon Zerg knows that. Like, he saw that there was no Ling speed from Striker, so he knows that this is going to be a crazy fast Spire. I'm sure he's played enough games to dial it in where the exact timing of when he needs those spores. It can be tricky though. If you don't play a lot of ZVZ, sometimes you actually don't have a good feel for it. You don't actually know the exact timing unless you played a crazy amount of mirror matchups. But in Eon's case, he's one of those grinder players that has played like thousands and thousands of games, so his timing should be pretty on point, I would say.
Yeah, spores are going to be easily done in time, and Striker's done something pretty interesting here. He just never made Ling speed, so he got an extra hatchery out much quicker than he normally would with this build as well.
Now, there's something you can do interesting here. Like, you can make just like 2 or 3 mutas
and then
flood Lings. Yeah, that's definitely an option here. But some Lings actually do get in for Eon Zerg. If he gets a drone that's huge, he does kill a drone. 2 is massive.
Oh my god.
Quite kill it though.
Yeah, 2 would have been like game ending. I mean, 1's already really bad. Plus, look at the mining rate. We're all stacked on 1 mineral, so it's going to take them a lot to spread out properly here. So this is a lot of damage overall done by Eon Zerg. And the mutas aren't really going to be able to find any damage. I mean, he's not even looking at this point. He's just trying to stop more Lings from flooding him. He's a little bit scared. I mean, he doesn't have any Lings or any protection at home.
And Striker is not going back to mine gas. I wonder, is he going to start flooding Lings right now?
Oh, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is going to be the play.
I like this play a lot, by the way. Like, it's a really good play. Like, the only way you can stop it is if you make non-stop Lings yourself and or sunken. And it's really hard to make that call when you don't have a scouting information to work with.
Yeah, because these mutas, I imagine, are going to park between the bases as well, so that any Lings being made by Eon Zerg will be damaged. So
that's exactly what you should do, yeah.
This is potentially scary. We see some drones coming out for Eon Zerg. He started as gas, and Striker's all in on the Lings right now. This could very, very easily catch Eon Zerg off guard. And like you said, even if he knows it's coming, he needs to be getting a sunken down because he's just, there's no Lings coming out of his main, and if they do get built, they're going to be getting chipped away at. And guys, this might actually work. This looks like it's going to work.
It does look like it's going to work. Let's see. I mean, obviously you could make a blunder here from Striker, but I don't think so. I think he's got enough lings to overpower this easily. I don't think there's a way of holding this from Eonzerg. Wow. You kind of need a Sunken to have a chance at holding this. Like, you can still lose with the Sunken because they can just run by into the main, for example. Like, it's not even a guaranteed defense if you do make the Sunken. So without it, you can see just how easily Striker is able to rip apart the defenses of Eonzerg here.
Oh, I love this, dude. He's going to target down the Spores so the Mutas can go finish that off later if they want to, though. The Spire did finish for Eonzerg, so he's going to try to get his own air out here, and he's actually kind of close to holding this. When these Mutas get out, do you think he should abandon the natural, maybe? Or is this okay?
No, I think he feels like he has to save the natural, because if he doesn't, he's behind in production, because there's 2 hatcheries here for Striker. Yeah. So he's basically like trying to make the stars align by holding onto the natural, because he knows if he lets it go, it's GG anyway. Yeah,
well, unfortunately, looks like Eon is going to go down. What a cool build from Striker. I like this. I think I've seen this once before. It seems so hard to prepare for. You kind of just have to blind make the Sunken, because there's no way to get an Overlord out to get information at that point.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Because you'll always make like 2 or 3 mutas to fake it into the lings. And unless you do constant ling backstabs, there's no way of knowing. It's just not possible.
Yeah, I think, that's a good point, the ling backstabs, right? And we saw from Striker, he kind of knew that was the only thing to be wary of, so he didn't even threaten the mutas at all. He just purely scouted around his base to make sure there were no lings hiding anywhere, coming in from anywhere.
Right. Yeah, no, really well done from Striker there. That's like one of my favorite ways of countering the Spore timing from Eon. It's the highest win percentage, in my opinion, to play against that.
Yeah, pretty cool. I like that. So it's the the lair first, no speed, still no speed, second hatch, 4 mutas, and 2 mass ling. Man, what a hard build to play against, actually, if you're playing 12 pool.
Yeah, and like we were saying, you also got the mutas like hovering between the 2 bases, so even if they do make non-stop lings, you're chipping away at them as they come into the natural. So even a Sunken could still lose, is the funny thing about it.
Yeah, well, we saw at the end, right? There was like 40 lings there for Striker, so yeah, even if he got Sunkens in the main or something, I don't even think he can hold.
No, it's a very difficult build to navigate. Well, I don't know how to call this one. I think this could go either way. We're going to find out now. Jumping into game number 3 here. Striker versus Eonzerg on Generator.
Oh, Generator.
Yeah, spawning in the top right. The white Zerg, Eonzerg.
And his bonus here in the bottom right. Both scouting the correct direction. We have our blue Zerg Striker.
Yeah, so this map is pretty weird. I describe it as like a Frankenstein of like circuit breakers, 76, and attitude overall.
Yeah. Do you think when they made the map 76, it was originally going to be 6-7 and they knew what was going to happen in the future and they wanted to avoid being a part of that?
I have no idea. Oh, jeez.
So I'd assume this kind of favors more macro-oriented builds, but Eonzerg is going to go for the 9 pool. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it technically evens out, right? Whether you're doing macro or aggression.
Well, yes and no. Like we've actually seen a 5 pool work in this situation here on this map. Theoretically, a 9 hatch is really optimal to go for if you want to do like an all-in ling style. 9 hatch would be very strong here, but also weak to something like a 5 pool.
Yeah. By the way, that was a beautiful drone split after the minerals dissipated there from Striker. It was kind of perfect. I don't know if he hotkeyed every single drone or like what that was, but that was beautiful looking.
Yeah, I don't know, but like it shows as well. Like he's got a decent chunk more minerals than Striker, Eonzerg does.
Yeah, and he went for overpull as well. So I really like Striker's position here.
Yeah. This is again a build order win, but you know we've seen it happen plenty of times where the weaker build still wins. It does come down to micro and decision making at the end of the day.
And lair first for Striker, I assume, as well, right? Yeah, so you went overall pull versus 9 pull. He's gonna basically the only difference between these two is the Striker's gonna have more drones. That's pretty much it right now.
Now, because of that, there is something you can do. So if you, because he knows that this is 9 pool, you see the Overlord sees the Lings, right? You know this is 9 pool. So all you've got to do is block your ramp. And if you've got enough Lings to defend, because you see there's not a crazy amount of Lings coming, you can squeeze out a drone and a second hatchery.
Yeah.
And then you're really far ahead.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, the Overlord sees exactly what's coming. He can basically make the Lings on reaction to what he's scouting.
Yeah.
And otherwise he can drone. And yeah, it looks like that's exactly what we're getting. So great there from Striker. Great, analysis of the game and kind of what he's playing against.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's definitely going to do that, but in his situation, I would make an extra drone and a second hatchery. It just feels so good to do that right now.
Oh, okay, he's actually droning, or sorry, making more Ling.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, actually a little bit surprised that he made that extra pair of Lings there. It's kind of flipped a little bit now. Yunzer, has a different advantage. Yeah, Striker has a few more Lings, but when you're defending that ramp, obviously you can hold off a bit more than what you have. So it kind of feels like Yunzer actually caught up because of that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he actually is going to be greedy. He did squeeze out an extra drone, and he's thinking about taking what? Is he going to take a ninja? Is he going to take like 6 o'clock or something?
Wow. Okay. Well, this is not very Striker-esque to me. I feel like he's usually a lot more standard, but I like this. This is some pretty creative stuff from Striker, and it kind of makes sense because the builds are so similar, and he made the extra Lings. It would actually be very hard for Eonzerg to evaluate that there is a hatchery missing.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah. I don't think he would even risk trying to check the main with an Overlord as well, so there'd be no way of figuring this out. Yeah, he's going to build it right down here in the bottom left. And, okay, well, Eonzerg is also taking his own natural expansion, so this could be a very even ZVZ.
Okay, interesting. We'll see how this one plays out. Can we check drones real quick, by the way? I feel like Eon has to be ahead. So 8 there.
No, same.
Okay, it's even.
Yeah, it's pretty much dead even from what I managed to figure out.
And Eonzerg commits all of his Lings to the ramp, loses them all. But you know what? Makes him less supply block.
What's interesting is that because he's taken this hatchery so far away, and because he delayed making the extra drone, the game is actually way more even than it should be.
Yeah. That's what I meant, right? Like, Eonzerg actually got to catch up, despite... Essentially, Striker should have a 1 drone advantage from the opening, but he did make those extra Lings, whereas Eonzerg did drone up a little bit, so they actually came out, like you said, pretty much dead even. And, the hatchery was delayed quite a bit because it went all the way across the map. That was less mining that it was doing that entire time, right? So...
Yeah. Basically, makes them about picture perfect even. I actually don't think they're hardly far apart at all.
Yeah, I'd almost give like a slight edge to Eonzerg, I think, looking at this. His gas is going to be online slightly faster. Actually, a pretty good bit faster even.
Actually, you also have to factor in the fact that not only is this hatchery faster in terms of mining the gas, but the rally points will be much quicker for Eonzerg as well. Like, Striker producing units all the way in the bottom left is not optimal, to say the least.
Eon's gonna find it, by the way. He just saw there's no hatchery in the natural, so he's scouting for a hidden hatchery.
Ooh, he should kill it, actually.
Okay. No Ling speed. Never mind. But he at least is aware that something's wrong, right? He showed us that he's like, okay, you're missing a hatchery. You should have had a natural.
Right. Well, this is crazy because, like, Striker has been quite cute this game, but I actually think it makes the situation harder for him.
It does. Like, his gas just now started. Eonzerg's gonna have a pretty big gas advantage by the time a fight happens.
This happens in StarCraft a lot, right? Where, like, you try and, like, think too many steps ahead and you actually just end up metagaming yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's funny because, like, me as the spectator, I'm watching it, I was like, oh, I like this play. And then as it played out, I'm like, man, this was not good.
You can feel good in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I bet it works on the ladder.
Yeah, maybe. Is what it is. But yeah, not only is the gas so slow here from Striker, but the rally point is such an issue. Like, he hasn't got a defender's advantage anymore because of it.
Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah, man. The more you talk about it, the more I realize this. It was cute and not much else.
Well, let's see. You know, good engagement here could make all the difference. Does kill quite a lot of Scourge right off the bat. Yeah, and gets his own Scourge connections as well. Really good engagement so far there from Striker. This could really go Striker's way, but there's some more Scourge coming in for Eonzerg now. But so far, it's gone fantastically well from Striker. He's ahead in the muta count by a few.
Wow.
That's 7-4, I think, right now. With good micro, he might even be able to close out the game right now. This is insane.
Yeah, does he discourage shot there, but it doesn't matter. He's got a big advantage here. And man, this is just this is StarCraft, guys. It doesn't matter what the situation was. At the end of the day, and Hawk talks about all the time, just fight good. It doesn't matter. Don't try to metagame anything. Don't worry about your build. Just fight good.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that, man. This is a best of 5 finals. Am I not wrong? Yeah, so we still got a chance here for Eonzerg to turn it all around, but now Striker's on match point. He's got to be feeling fantastic, and yeah, even though he kind of metagamed himself with the Ninja expand, he still came out on top with the micro. Like, that was a fantastic engagement from him.
Yeah, he picked off so many. Like, Eon had so many Scourge from this extra gas advantage, and Striker killed so many before the fight started, and then there was like all the Scourge like blowing up on each other, and then yeah, that was beautiful from Striker. I'd like to go back at some point and look at it because I'm curious how much of a disadvantage Striker went into that fight with, and you look at how much he won with, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of. I think that's why ZVZ is so hard, though, is because like everything is on such a knife's edge. Like, as soon as you make one tiny error in an engagement, that's enough for the other player to snowball. Like, one tiny mistake and it's all over.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at that game just now and look at the first game, right? Like, these are two perfect examples of, you know, fighting poorly and fighting great.
Yeah.
One's a win and one's a loss.
Well, I hope Eonzerg doesn't tilt after that, because that can be very frustrating to lose in that fashion. Jumping into game number 4 now. Striker versus Eonzerg on Sylphid. Spawning here in the 12 o'clock position, leading the series 2 games to 1. Striker.
And his opponent, one round we're white, next round we're black. We're Eonzerg here at the 9 o'clock spawn.
I have no idea what these two gamers are going to do build order-wise. It's kind of been all over the place so far. That trend may continue.
Yeah, and these games are a perfect example of why I'm saying that I've become a fan of this matchup, because even like the different variations of like 9 pool, right? Or like overpool, and just the way you can mix things up. Yeah, there's a lot of options, a lot more options than people realize, or at least that I realized when I first was learning StarCraft.
Right. Yeah, I think it's easy to gloss over all of those little nuances and variations as a spectator. If you don't play Zerg especially, you're kind of just like waiting for the Ling and Muta fight. You're not really analyzing like all these little tiny micro variations in the build order and what have you.
Yeah. Agree. Yeah, it's been a journey. My ZVZ learning. I don't know what to call it.
Well, looks like it's going to be a 9 pool here from Eonzerg, whereas Striker getting the better end of the stick with an overpool.
Yeah. Was it overpool or it was over? I guess it was overpool, not over gas.
I think it was overpool based on how far along the gas is relative to the pool.
Yeah. Okay.
But overgas is a good build.
Yeah, I've learned a little bit about overgas. Striker specifically was talking about it because I know he does like to do overgas. He's mentioned it a few times. There was like a little bit of a talk about it with him. It gives you a lot of options as well for like different things you can do.
Yeah. And even if you don't utilize those options, wow, you've just got more gas than the other guy. That can sometimes lead to a win too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you can use it for like a faster speed, faster layer. You can just skip speed and just be banking the gas, right? Like, it seems like a really cool build. It's actually one that I would be interested in learning if I do actually play Zerg someday.
The main advantage is that you can effectively make speed and layer at the same time, kind of, right? That's the... Okay, bit of a Ling engagement here. Looks like Striker doing a better job this time around with that 6-on-6 Ling action.
Yeah, and gonna get a little bit more damage too. And one of those things very, very low. I mean, that's a big win for Striker. It's kind of similar to like ZVP, where if you have a good fight where you kill a bunch of Zealots and you got a Lings left over, then it allows you to drone more safely. It's kind of the same situation. We have two options, basically. We can either continue to pressure with Lings by making more and more Lings, or we could drone if we wanted to.
Yeah. If you can, you do want to squeeze out an extra drone, but it kind of depends on your mentality. Like, he might feel like he wants to be more pressure-orientated, but in this situation, it's best to just contain their Ling. But he's actually not going to get it. Like, good play from zerg to pounce on him just before he can set up a concave. That's a really good trade.
Yeah, huge punish there from Eon. Striker a little bit slow setting up his wall, and Eon Zerg realizing, hey, there's a gap here, and I'm not going to let you contain me like this. So he pounced on it right away. So good awareness there from Eon Zerg to realize that he had a very small window there to get through there and kill those Lings.
Really, like, it's so hard to set up a tight Ling wall. Like, even pro gamers I've seen sometimes struggle to do it quickly. It is really tricky, like, get the Lings into, like, pixel perfect positioning.
Yep. Yeah, definitely one of the hardest units to make walls with. You see it anytime when Zerg's setting up Lings on their ramp, that it's like really tedious looking, where it's like, you go next, okay, now you go next, and it does take a bit of time.
You see some people making like an L shape to try and simplify. Okay, he's going to pounce in there, gets a drone immediately. There is a sunken, but don't think that matters. He has enough DPS to chew through this sunken, even against a drone drill. Mutas are on the way, but they take so long to build. He's going to probably get quite a few worker eliminations from this. This is a massive play from zerg. He hasn't killed as many drones as I thought he would. 2 of them on low HP. Maybe he can go after another one now. Ooh, it does get it.
That drone just wanted to dance. It spins in circles and dives for it. Nice kind of rotations there from Striker, but he's not mining this entire time this is happening either, right? So yeah, he avoided a couple more losses, but he wasn't mining, and you know, Eon Zerg's on metas here going to be hatching, so he's not going to be in any danger. So this gives him a pretty massive lead now.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, it's so hard for Striker to actually win from this position. Like, you kind of have to wait for a mistake from Eon Zerg. Like, somehow Eon forgets how to kill Scourge or something, and all of the Scourge have perfect split connections and what have you. It usually won't happen, but it can.
It can happen, yeah. It's rare. I remember there was a game I was watching of Crossy where it was kind of the game that made me a Crossy fan, where he was incredibly far behind. I think it was against Eon Zerg as well, actually.
Right,
and he did a Scourge split where he hit like 4 or 5 different mutas like within the ball, and it was like an unwinnable fight into like a crushing win. It was the craziest game.
And that's the thing about it, is like, ideally you actually want your Scourge to split. It's like the opposite when you're fighting Corsairs. Like, you actually don't want them to split against Corsairs, but against mutas you do, because obviously they survive with like 11 HP and then they're dead for like 2 shots or a shot and a bounce. So you actually want that to happen.
Yeah, wasn't Crossy on like 2 drones in that game or something too? I think he had like 1 on minerals and 2 on gas or something weird like that.
Something like that, yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I love those games though. ZVZ can be like some of the most nail-biting action you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when the guy with less wins. It's always like... mathematically, it just doesn't make sense number-wise, you know? That's why I'm always impressed by it. I love seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's going to be like I think like a 2 meter advantage here for Eon Zerg, whereas we've got the Scourge from Striker. So yeah, I'm not so sure how this is going to go down. Okay, gets a 7th, so now just a 1 meter advantage And a 2 Scourge advantage for Striker. Oh, but he loses the drones for free. He needs to get massive damage against this Muta stack now. He can't let it go away. It's Muta connection as well for free. That's a big blunder.
I think Striker wins? Yeah.
Just barely, yeah.
He's gonna win this fight, but he kind of has to snowball this into a win, basically.
Yeah,
which doesn't...
Yeah. He's not doing it. Yeah, there we go. It's game anyway. Yeah, theoretically though, with perfect micro, you can, kill all of those Scourge and actually be ahead.
Yeah, there is a world where that is winnable. You give that to like one of the best like ASL Zergs or something, they win from that situation, right? Because it is snowballable in theory, but like you said, it has to be absolutely flawless.
Yeah, ZVZ is the most tempo-orientated matchup there is. So, like, even though on paper you have more drones, it doesn't matter as long as the other guy's microing flawlessly and has a small meter lead.
All right, well, we're going to get game 5 between these two players. Very, very closely matched.
Yeah, and it's going to be on Andromeda of all things, guys. Striker versus Zerg. Final game. Let's get it. Spawning here in the top right. The white Zerg, Zerg.
And his opponent here in the bottom left cross spawn, we have our blue Zerg Striker.
So do you think he like chooses white or black depending on his mood? Like as soon as he gets angry, he switches to black.
That's maybe the white comes after the win, huh? It's like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty chill now. I would like to point out my cross spawn meta build super strong here in this game.
This map is so crazy big. Like, although usually maps have the least impact on ZVZ out of all of the matchups, to be fair. Unless it's like Litmus with the double gas. It's like, a bit of a caveat to that rule.
Yeah, Litmus was such an interesting map. I kind of wish it had stuck around a little bit longer. We got some weird stuff on there a few times.
Yeah, definitely lets you do some funkier stuff. You could even do one-base Terran builds.
Remember that game we casted where it was the ZVZ where both Zergs mined out of their gases because it's the lesser gases and
yeah. I know, yeah.
It was so weird. I was like, wait, what happens now? They're both mining 2 gas at a time.
I think we like both forgot that would happen until it was just about to happen as well. Like, oh wait, they're both out of gas.
Yeah, there was a moment I was like, why are we making lings again? And then I was like, oh my god, they're depleted. Like I never even thought about this happening.
Yeah, we were both so caught up in the action that we forgot to calculate the gas. I remember that. Well, got a gas optimization here from Zerg this time around.
Yeah. How much of a difference does this map make for ZVZ? Probably not too much other than the rush distance being insane, right? Like this cross spawn is so far.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to snowball tempo in these positions is the main thing.
Yeah. I like the decision to go 12 pull here from Striker because of the potential rush distance. Surely we wouldn't die to a 9 pull on this map, right?
Yeah, if you're calculating it based on that, then yeah, this is like the safest map to get a greedy hatchery, probably. But you also are scared in the back of your mind, like, oh, this is the one map where my opponent's expecting me to go for a hatchery first. I can't do that.
What was the Zerg's opening? I wasn't watching.
I think it was Overgas.
Okay.
I didn't actually see it, but looking at the timings, it looks like that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I started to question it because we were seeing no lings, and that's when I realized it was not what I thought it was.
I was so busy reminiscing with you that I didn't actually pay attention.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's Overgas, yeah, based on the timings.
Okay. He also did in-base hatchery, so if the game goes on, it will become potentially favorable for Striker. How funny would it be, though, if Zerg kill Striker with the same build that he died to earlier on Octagon, or at least a similar build?
I mean, this series has been a little bit strange overall, so as weird as it is, I don't think I'd be too surprised.
We're going to get that creep, though, for his Sunken. because he wants to drone.
Yeah. I like him playing it safe here.
Yeah. He's gonna see the no hatchery from Eonzerg at the natural there, so that kind of lets him know that he understands what his win condition is now, right? It's holding on to this natural and not taking too much damage, which sounds easy in theory, but it's not.
It's like being a jazz musician. All you got to do is play all of the notes like you're warming up for the entire set, but actually playing the notes not necessarily as easy as saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of feel like the level of complexity that StarCraft has is a little bit like playing jazz or something.
It's a lot of links from Eonzerg.
It's kind of hard to dial into exactly all of the nuances of StarCraft without playing it a lot yourself or watching a crazy amount of games.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, you miss things.
All right, Eonzerg going to start his 3 meters. He is going to be supply blocked here, though, so it's only going to be 3 meters for a while, but he's going to plan on freeing up that supply by flooding a ton of lings in a Striker. And Striker gets the information very, very early that this is coming.
You might want to Evo block.
Yeah, I think he should, right? He's even going to cancel this gas, try to get as much
out
as he can, because he understands he just needs to hold on here, but that is a lot of lings coming from Eonzerg.
Yeah, he cancelled the gas as well. He's taking this super seriously, and well, he should. Nice drone drill as well to body block, but good target fire onto that Sunken. Won't last too long. Finally cancels the Evo rather than let it finishing, so that the drone can also fight and go back to mining. And
nice hold.
Really, really sick hold here from Striker.
Yeah, very, very well done from Striker. Although nice little multi-prong here from Eon, buying some time with those lings actually allows him to get in here and get a few drones. So this is a pretty good play from Eonzerg as well to try and even this up quite a bit.
This was an oversight from Striker. Like, he could have sent the lings to chase them, but he was like, oh, well, if I do that, then he can still get drones, so I want to clean them up with mutas. But he delayed so long that he got punished by the mutas of Eon anyway. And considering that's cross-map, that's really impressive for Eon to find the timing to still get that going.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool play from Eon. And even me as the observer, I was watching, I was like, oh, he's just trying to juke these mutas a little bit, but he was actually doing, it was like kind of a two-prong attack in that sense as well, where it's like, oh, look at my lings, they're dancing, haha, I'm gonna get into your main. That was a pretty cool play from Eon.
Yeah, and he needs to make those kind of plays, knowing that he's up against what could be such a devastating build order loss with that second gas coming online. He kind of has to play for tempo now.
Yeah. Yeah, and we are going to see that next wave of units coming here. The Sunken is very low, and there's a few lings here as well, so there's potential the lings also win the ground battle while he's fighting the air here. And Striker actually pulled back a little bit. Gonna at least clean the lings up mostly, but gonna lose a few more drones in the meantime. Does eat a couple of Scourge Shot as well.
Ooh, the lings do get to the main. I think he dealt with them with the drones, though, so he did clear up inside the main base. Now he does do a good micro against the Scourge of Eonzerg, but it's hard to tell with Mutica. I think Eonzerg has a teeny tiny bit of an advantage, though. This could be GG. Like, Eonzerg could just kill him right here and now as he starts to mine this gas in the natural.
Yeah, he does lose another muta there on the exit, and a bunch of Scourge finish up, so Striker gonna hold on for now, but Eonzerg doing a good job of pressuring and really making Striker kind of, feel the pressure coming out of Eonzerg. It's getting close. It's very, very close. Eonzerg almost broke him there.
Yeah, he's going to flood more lings as well. I mean, this is really risky. It does stretch the task switching of Striker to the absolute limit. Oh, he sees it with the Zergling. That gives him so much preparation time. Now he can get a few more lings on the ramp and deny the run by yet again. This could actually snowball towards Striker's favor now, buying him precious time to squeeze out more Scourge from that additional gas mining. Eonzerg might have let this game slip through his fingers ever so slightly.
Yeah, that was a great defensive setup there from Striker. Being able to deflect those lings without having to pay attention to it was crucial, because he could focus purely on his Mutaflock, so he could be ready for Eonzerg swiping in here. Eonzerg is going to get in here and get on this gas a little bit, try and get a few bounces to maybe get a lucky kill, but not quite going to get it so far. But it is at least going to pull Striker into him and maybe force him to fight away a little bit from his reinforcements. But with all those Scourge there, you can't really fully engage Striker anymore.
Yeah, it's like a 2 meter advantage for Eonzerg right now, and he's trying to flood Lings as well on the ground, but Striker's in a pretty good setup. Unless these Lings stab onto the Sunken and then the gas or something, they're probably not going to get too much value here. But if he does kill the gas, they'll definitely help out his win condition. Good play, though, from Striker, getting on top of those Mutalisks, and the Scourge also zoning him out. He's lost track of some of his Scourge, though. He has got more Scourge in reserve that aren't yet being utilized. That could end up haunting him. He's got Scourge just waiting in the wings off screen, not engaging right now. He still is actually winning the Muta fight despite that. That's crazy. He's actually winning that Muta fight despite not even using those 4 Scourge.
Yeah, this was really taxing for Striker because there were Lings running around both bases at the same time as well. But he manages to clean it up. It looks like he did lose a fair amount of drones, but he's won the Muta battle by so much that he technically can get across the map and win. But you do have to worry about, you know, the constant flooding from Eonzerg. He has his own slow Lings actually working his way across the map. I think this is a good enough defense from Striker that he should be able to snowball it into a win, but man, Eonzerg made him work for it. That was a lot going on at once.
Yeah, now Striker has speed upgrade as well. Should definitely be able to win again. He's found those 4 idle Scourge, so he should have a massive tempo swing where there's just too much stuff for Eonzerg to do anything about. He's probably just processing the loss at this point, wondering where it all went wrong, since he was in the driver's seat a little bit there despite the build order loss. GG is called, and Striker wins the finals in a very impressive set of games. That was a really tight set of ZVZs between these two, very back and forth.
Yeah, that was really close. Congrats to Striker, man, taking first place here. I mean, I feel like we just watched like an IPSL main event thing. This is a monthly, but I mean, that's like 2 really, really strong players duking it out, get all the way to game 5. And yeah, for people that say they don't like ZVZ, you guys need to watch more games like this, I feel like. I mean, this whole series was so back and forth. There was so much variation between the games, and yeah, it's not so cookie cutter like you might think.
Right. I'm impressed by Striker. I think a lot of people would have assumed that Eonzerg would be winning this series. And I don't think ZVZ is Striker's most comfortable matchup by far. So I'll take my hat off to him, man. Honestly, like, it's not easy to go like a best of 7 series against a top level Zerg player and play that good. He played masterfully today.
Yeah, I'm very, very impressed. It was really nice to see Striker do well today. Against someone like Eonzerg as well, who Eonzerg also ZVZ. I feel like his ZVZ is really good. His pressure is really good. I mean, you see it there. I feel like a lesser Zerg would have crumbled under that for sure. Like I said, we had Lings in the main, Lings in the natural, and the Muta fight happening at the same time. And it looked like Striker, like if you watched that fight, there was only one moment for less than a second that the Muta stopped being controlled, which means that Striker's speed and task switching must be insane, because it looked like he was watching the Muta fight almost the entire time while dealing with Lings in 2 different places.
Yeah, it's so hard to do that as well. Like usually sometimes you're a good enough player that you can juggle 2 things, but your efficiency drops heavily while you're doing it. Takes a lot longer to actually get back into your groove again afterwards. But he seemed to not really skip much of a beat when that was all going on. And just to put it into perspective, Eonzerg is a much more well-rounded Zerg than Striker is. Like, Eon does not struggle in ZVZ in any stretch of the imagination. So the fact that Striker was able to pull that out of the bag in such a deep series, I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Jean, on that one.
Well, those are all the games we've got today for you at the IPSL Monthly. We'll be back next week to go back into the regular season. More great games will be coming up there. I hope you guys have enjoyed your stay here in the Monthly. It's been an absolute pleasure being alongside you, Arzi, in the caster booth once again.
Yeah, we don't get to cast together too often lately, so yeah, it's nice to be with someone that does a lot of the talking for me, especially since I'm casting again in about 45 minutes. So you get to save my voice a little bit. I appreciate you for that, Jean.
Are you doing the BSL?
I am, yeah.
I'm glad I could save your voice a lot for that, my man. I hope you have a good time, Carsten. It's been an absolute pleasure being with you again. I'll be joining you guys in the IPSL next week, and don't forget to check out the ASL. That'll be on Monday. Got the round of 8 coming up. Get caught up on those games, guys. Don't risk getting spoiled.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the games. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Thanks, guys.